You know, I'm very proud of that one. I love doing that. Hey guys, this is the portal room where we gather behind the scenes to kind of give you an idea of what's been going down in all of our fandoms. Um, as you guys know, you see me as the Cosmic Portal, uh, Priory of the Phoenix, and of course I got my man Marky Mark, who's the DC reviewer, who also does at the movies with his wife Vonda. And then of course there is Big L, who is the president of the. Hold on. Oh, okay. So that was Rob. Rob is trying to make it. He'll be here soon. But there is Big L, who is the CEO of course, Geek Fandom's NC. Then we have our man Taco Cat, who is the non-Star Wars Toxic Alliance, and none other than the man, the myth, the legend, Jedi Joe. Guys, it has been a minute since we've been able to get on together to do something and to, really kind of express ourselves about everything that's been going on. So, as I just want to reach over, I want to make sure that Rob gets his invite, just in case he didn't get it through the messenger. We'll just make sure that Rob gets it, and then we can go ahead and really start what we're talking about and get all that good stuff out of there. Sorry, slow to open. Okay, so he is trying to get in there, and we'll just make sure that he has it over here. And now let's get back to it. Okay, so with everything that's going on, we got a couple of conventions that are getting ready to hit up, right? So I know there he is. I'm pretty sure there's a couple of library cons, because up on my feed it came up from like a couple of years ago or whatever else. And then of course in July we have Raleigh. And I would like to ask you if you've seen any good shows lately, but I already know the answer to that. I mean, you know what I mean? Everybody's still screaming how Andor was this and how Andor was that, and I always say the same thing. Yeah, it was okay. It didn't do that whole big, oh my God, it's connected and da 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 da. But you know what I did see? I see a lot of people making fun of Luke, Han, and Leia. Oh, they think they did something. They destroyed the Death Star. They don't know about all these people that, you guys were forgetting all that happened beforehand. And then these writers write this stuff. And I noticed that they really love to dog the legacy characters. They just really love to dog the legacy characters. And I'm just a little tired of it. But if it's a young kid, I don't say anything to them, because that's their Star Wars. I let them think what they want to think. So, how are you guys preparing for what's going down these next conventions? Jedi Joe, let's start with you, sir. I know you're getting ready to get in there and do some stuff.
Well, I think it's like anything else, and I'm sure all of us would agree. You're always trying to improve the way you present your table, figure out other accesses on how to get people to come to your table. I mean, for years, we've seemed like we've done the same thing over and over again. So now I've been trying to branch out, kind of get away from the Star Wars aspect and start moving into other things, because you kind of get the same stuff all the time. You kind of got to freshen it up a little bit. And, and I got to take some of these props and say that I kind of learned them from Big L's wife, because she would also add some of the holiday aspect to it. And so I've seen that over in the last several years. And, I think all of us as groups, we have to keep it fresh. We have to keep it interesting. If not, we're just going to look like a yard sale table.
You know, now that you mention it, there was, I mean, we've been doing what? We've been doing a lot of stuff, of course, for Yester Toys. And the last bizarre thing that we had out there, I swear to God, he set me next to Keel. And Keel's presentation was just, for me, you know, like you said, I felt like a yard sale table. You know what I mean? I just had some stuff here and there. And this man had galore. He had the buckets. He had figures. He had his little turnstile. He had lightsabers, all Thor's hammers. And I'm sitting there like, oh my God, I didn't want to be next to him. Not like that. You know what I mean? I mean, I'm in the middle of that. And then the Transformers table was great. And Rob showed up. So it's me and Rob out there. Marky Mark came later. But like you said, and I'm sitting there going, and I had most of my stuff with me. I had my banner and stuff, which I've had to redo at least 3 times just to keep up and try to keep it, like you said, interesting, fresh, something different. But it was still a pretty good turnout. We had a lot of good stuff that everybody could, relate to. And, Rob was out there hustling. I was in there hustling. I was going back inside, coming back outside. But that table presentation is key. The Cosmic Port only has really one con that we bank on. And that's always going to be Convivial. Convivial is our home con. It was the one that gave us the break. So, and this year it's D&D. So we're trying to keep that aspect of it. And I know Big L this year came out and it was mythical creatures, and Big L came out in a mythical creature. So, he always takes that theme to mind. Big L, your thoughts on, what Jedi Joe was saying about the tables and presentation?
Yeah, honestly, a lot of things, and I'll say this, kind of piggybacking off of that. I mean, yeah, my wife does a great job of, theming it, but one thing I learned from Jedi Joe years ago is kind of group things together. If you're doing, a certain, if you're spotlighting a certain, fandom or whatever, kind of group the things together so it looks a little more presentable. That was one of the things, I picked up is I'm all about, setting up the stuff and, doing all the labor to get it done. But when it goes to making it looking pretty and all that kind of stuff, be honest with you, that's really not my wheelhouse. I'm just, it's there, so I step back and kind of let them do it. So, when I set up the table at MiniCon, the May 4th MiniCon, I was really, kind of, all right, what do I do here? What do I do there? And then, Ab was kind of, grouping things together and making it look pretty. So that's the one thing, is you want it to be presentable. You want it to be more of a focal piece and a something people want to look at and they want to ask questions about, because if it's all kind of just thrown on there and haphazard and it looks like, crap, they're going to walk on by. But if there's some focal stuff and some eye-catching things, so there was some lights, some videos, the one time we were at GalaxyCon in Richmond, we had the monitor set up and, had videos playing. Pete was doing the whole, playing Transformers on the PS5 or one of the, gaming systems, that kind of thing. So there was a lot of different things running around that was nice. So I really enjoyed, how that setup is. But overall, you just got to kind of keep it fresh. As we say, Geek Fandom is fresh, new, and exciting.
You're muted. You're muted, Calvis.
Yeah, I still pull the Calibus after all these years. Squadron leader, you had something that you've been doing, and I love that you had like the videos and stuff playing. And that was kind of like one of the things that I wanted to really kind of implement. But of course, it just being, looping all our shows that we do for YouTube and everything. Your table setup, how do you come up with all that?
I try to get some things that I know a lot of people like the stormtrooper helmets and stuff, uh, and try to get them from one end to the other so it draws their eyes across the table with like a video playing in the middle. And I make sure that at least a scan code or something to lead back to our website somewhere where they're looking at the table. So if they don't know how to get to our website, there's no point in even going. But like everybody else, presentation is everything.
I hear that. Marky Mark, you've been helping setting up with my tables and doing what you do. What are your thoughts?
Well, I think everybody says it the best. Make sure that you have it organized correctly. I love when Big L was saying, and I remember when his son was playing the videos at the table, as well as um, squadron leader Rob was doing it as well. And I think that's something that we should do. I bought my laptop last time, but we never had enough space to set up something like that to play videos, because I did have a video to play at the table if we had space for it. And I think the main thing is not to be too cluttered at a table, because if there's too much up there, then there's always an issue with nobody knows what to focus on. So minimize things, but try to get, for what the con is, try to have that type of stuff at the table. That always works out best. So that would be my take on everything.
Taco Cat, I know you don't have tables at conventions, but you go to conventions. So what do you look for that catches your eye when you're at a table?
I'll probably look at toys, stuffs, Star Wars stuff, Transformers stuff, and some of this cool stuff too.
Okay. Yeah, I was thinking about that too. I really like to bare minimalize the table now, with only a few things on there, and then maybe have some more of the background things. Like for us now, we have Revan, right? I just need to get the mannequin for Revan. So we dress Revan up, you put them in the back, that automatically draws the attention, and then we can focus on having the video set up or the audio set up, especially when we want to do the shows from the videos, right? So that's the plan. Definitely pushing that for next year's Convivio, which is, of course, again going to be D&D themed, which is really not hard for a lot of everyone that shows up to do that stuff, but for me it is nice, because most of my stuff now is Klingon or Mandalorian with one outfit for like the Jedi. So I'm gonna have to try to work something in there that's gonna be, into that mold. But Big L had mentioned we need a money in the bank type thing. We needed some type of thing that's going to represent. I believe somebody trying to come for this. Now, I don't suggest that any of you do that. I don't suggest that you come for this belt. But if you do come for this belt, rest assured, I am going to be here to defend it. But Big L had a very good idea that we do something like a Money in the Bank that gives the person the chance for a whole year to get either their cosplay, their videos, or whatever they see fit to choose to challenge for any of the belts that we have. So I thought that was a neat little thing to do. And let me tell you.
Are we going to have a briefcase like that too then?
Yes. I was looking at the briefcases.
I've been looking at them.
Have you been looking at them?
I've been looking at them.
You guys, Big L always inspires me, because that's one of the cornerstones of the things that we are doing new. We're doing more of the wrestling thing. We're talking more of that, that genre and implementing it into what we do, which is great. Now, So at Convivial, we will debut the Money in the Bank briefcase. Not to mention that the winner of the what was your member count, Big L, that you wanted to do a belt and a t-shirt for your member count?
500.
500. So the NC chapter gets 500 people in their chapter. They get a t-shirt, and we're throwing in a belt. The first NC chapter belt, which is, phenomenal. So guys, if you have not been over to Geek Fandom's NC, please go check it out. Push the numbers, get in there, get your official t-shirt, get your official, your own belt. None of us, even the guy that runs the place doesn't even have a belt, so you'll get your own belt. It will rival, of course, the Cosmic Portal belt. You know what I mean? And I would love to see an NC tag team belt, because then we would have two teams that could go head to head for those belts. All right.
You shouldn't say something like that.
All I'm saying is, Leland and I
are double champion again.
Look, Leland and I are working on something. So,
Okay.
I'm bringing a ringer in. So we'll see what happens.
Okay. All right. Well, you have a ringer. I might have to, because you see, Mark drops his partners. He drops his partners quick. If they ain't moving fast enough for him, Mark will drop you and run over there to Vonda and snatch up the gold before your eyes.
See, Mark is the Montavious MVP of our group. He. If you ain't doing what he wants, he just kicks you to the curb for like the Hurt Syndicate and keeps on moving.
Well, as a person who's been able to hold two belts, which still burns me up to this day, and I can never get the numbers that I did beforehand, and I don't know what happened. It just seemed like everything just kind of like fell off. Mark is doing it. You know what I mean? I can't blame him for it, but. There's some stuff in the works. Jedi Joe and I were talking about a Transformer show or something like that. So, we might come in there and do a little something. I might even swing over with Rob and try to do some type of squadron thing. I don't know. All I know is I'm tired of Mark having that title of 2-belt champion. But I can say this. This is something that I love the fact that we can still all come together, over all of this, even though sometimes we're kind of fragmented, we're all off kind of doing our own things. And, we're still, Jedi Joe is still pushing out promos for us, you know what I mean? And that means a lot. We still have some sense of, unity amongst us, even though we're not always connected. So I did want to say that. And I wanted to say thank you, sir, for doing that. And, it's been a wild ride as we all kind of like started to grow and develop and started doing things. I'm still pushing the Yester Toys brand, of course, a little bit harder now than ever. But it is still good to see you guys and to be around you guys. And yes, I do miss it. But when you're walking in that door around 7:30 or close to 8 o'clock, and then you eat, and then you look up, and then next thing you know, it's 10 o'clock, and I gotta go to bed, because you got to get up and do it all over again. It really sucks. But I still would like us to at least try to, come together or meet up at, say, like Mark went to Busch Gardens, or, something to do something together as like we used to do. You know what I mean? The shows aren't like they used to be. Again, Monday through Friday is really kind of tied up for me. And then when I get off, half the time I'm like, I sit down and I eat. It's like 8:15. I'm like, damn, I got a show. hey, if you don't mind, can we do it next week? Yeah, okay, cool. Yes. Oh, thank God, you know, because I'm tired. I'm tired, and I'm just trying to get, trying to get stuff together. And then, of course, we all have our own little things that are going on with illnesses and family and all kinds of things. And I know, financially, we're all hurting a little bit more. Just heard there's another something wrong with the eggs again. So get out and get your eggs while you can, guys. But Lord knows. The only other announcement that I can make is I want to thank again you guys for helping me push the Oscarith. Now I started creating shirts for Freedom Code Day. It's the day that the betas get freed from their creators. And we're going to be pushing that. And when we go to Convivio, we'll have the new Oscarith shirts. I'm hoping to have kind of like this audio thing that we can do that we can give out. And I want to put them on like flash drives or something, or maybe just a link that I can hit people with, and then they can, download it and listen to it by then. But I think I'm going to push the book back until March 30th and then launch it fully then, because I will have everything that I truly need on March 30th to have copies of the book, signed copies. For those that pushed into the book, the first 7 or 8 that came out, I'm going to have a signed copy of the characters and a special something in that when I get everything laminated and in kind of like a poster form. But that's what's going on here. Does anybody have any announcements about their groups or anything that they're trying to do? Now's the time to go ahead and push that and promote that. Anyone?
Go ahead, Joe.
So, guys, as y'all know, I do lightsaber training in the 757 area, the Virginia area, and I have been talking to some actual group leaders, and I'm trying to pull the community together as far as maybe having like this huge open seminar. And hopefully, if that builds and does very well, I'd like to have the very first open tournament where it will combine for young kids that can play. We would call that the novice division. Then light armor, which is basically what I do and what I teach. And then, of course, we would have a heavier armor, and that's more or less what the Saber Legion or the Saber Nightlights they do. But it's still a work in progress. But I'm kind of proud of what part of it I've done so far. Matter of fact, Calibus, one of the persons I really need to sit down and talk to is actually Sifu Ed, and see if I can get him involved so that I can kind of get everybody into this, community of lightsabers. It seems to be big everywhere else. Why not? Can it be big around our area? So I would say that's about the biggest thing that I think I've been working on. And Legos. There has been some really nice Lego stores in the area that I've gotten into. So appreciate the shout out.
Oh, most def. Yeah, Legos have definitely turned my world upside down. Big L.
So, as you know, we're trying to get into Raleigh GalaxyCon. We haven't heard, officially yet if we've got in. It's not looking good, but hey, it is what it is. We did apply for the volunteer side of things. So one way or another, we will be there representing Geek Fandom's NC at GalaxyCon Raleigh. That has been confirmed. Time has been taken off for that. So whether we're there with a table or we're there as volunteers or we're there as, attendees. Geek Fandoms NC will be represented at GalaxyCon Raleigh, and then as well as at Tidewater HorrorCon that weekend of my anniversary. Find out it's Miss Liz's birthday, a few other things. We will be there under the Geek Fandoms NC at Tidewater HorrorCon. We'll be debuting some nice things, going back to some things we did last year and a few other things that we're going to be looking at. And that's what we're doing now. As far as the group itself, one of the big things I will announce is Geek Fandoms NC has officially been trademarked with the basically U.S. Patent Office. That name has been officiated under 3 different classes so that we can do entertainment, parties, cosplay, things of that nature, whatever. And we are looking at a timeline where Geek Fandoms NC will be traveling across the United States. We'll be doing actual vendor style stuff at conventions, whether it be with t-shirts, earrings. We're looking at making the Harry Potter wands, mainly t-shirts, hats, earrings, Harry Potter wands, and maybe some mugs. That's kind of the inventory that's being purchased at the moment. The heat press is on its way, so we are working towards doing that. And then it's going to be a leap of faith. I'm going to quit my full-time job, and we're going to travel and just do the con scene across the United States. That's the game plan. So when you see us at a convention, stop in and say hi, because here in the very near future, you're going to see it go globally.
Well, damn. Okay. All right. Squadron leader.
The only things we really got coming up is we're waiting to hear back from THC. We do have in for a table there, but if we don't get a table, we're still going to be there dressed up all weekend long, and not all of them are going to be Star Wars. And we do have set in for Monster Fest in October.
Okay. Well, wow. Okay. The Cosmic Portal will be at THC, but we will be a vendor at THC. Any guesses to who we will be? We'll be there as a vendor this year, but we'll also be hanging out, of course, with Big L, doing that stuff. I've already got the room. We will be partying it up, because not only is it Miss Liz's birthday, Big L and Abby's anniversary, but my birthday and Jinky's birthday will probably have been 10 to 11 days. No, yeah, 10 to 11 days earlier. So we're all going to be celebrating throughout that whole weekend. So we'll be there doing that. Of course, there's Raleigh. I'm really kind of pacing myself with this Raleigh thing, because I was like, I want to get the ticket, but I'll wait. I want to get the ticket, but I'll wait. And then, of course, I think, what is it? Oh, as far as me going to a convention, the only other convention I'm thinking about going to, of course, would be Tidewater, but I'm only going to get my autograph and get right on out, because the droid from Rogue One, the guy that plays the droid, who's also Resident Alien and Wash from the Brown Coat, will be there. So
Alan Tudyk.
I only want the autograph. Yeah, I only want the autograph. I don't want to stay there. I'm just gonna be honest. I kind of have a problem with a convention that kind of kicks the fan tables to the curb. You know what I mean? I'll just be honest. You know what I mean? So I don't like giving them my money. So
yeah, I think it's really dirty what they did to all the fans this year.
Yeah, you know what I mean? We can't really make a stink about it. You know what I mean? Because we don't carry any weight. You know what I mean? So, but I've said it before and I say it again. You know, I'm not begging anybody to go to anybody's convention. I'm not. I'm just not. You know, you if you tell me no once, I got the hint. I'm good. I don't need another reminder. And you know what I mean? I'm pained because I have to go because I bought the figure just for the dude to sign it. You know what I mean? So I got to go in and pay him, and then I got to pay to get the autograph. So, but Jim was going to be there to grab some stuff and stuff like that. So if worse comes to worse, I'll just pay him to get the autograph for me, so I don't have to go. You know what I mean? But I look forward to trying to do something again. Again, with our schedules, I know it's tight, so it's kind of like a once a month thing that we can probably maybe get together like this, if you guys are cool with that. You know what I mean? I got to be honest with you. I ran into some car troubles 2 weeks ago, and I'm still trying to recover from that. And it's been kicking my butt. You know what I mean? I got in there, right? I got in there and I had to get some extra stuff. I had to get a new tablet, which was more money I didn't have, just to try to keep up to do what I'm doing. Don't get me wrong, the tablet's making life a lot easier as far as doing videos and stuff, but you know what I mean? It's still a little bit harder to do what we're doing. But I'd like to get together once a month for all of us to come together and, just talk about what's going on in our groups, or to be honest with you, if you guys just want to come on here and shoot the shit, you know what I mean? Because it gets a little hard, it gets a little lonely sometimes. There he is, the wolf. It gets a little lonely sometimes because we used to do this so much, and then I had to say, hey, let's do it bi-weekly, and now it's kind of like, hey, let's try to keep the shows going, but there's not really much good content out there to kind of report on, and I got tired of defending my point of view against Star Wars, so now I just call it like it is. If it's trash, it's trash. I say it's trash, but I don't want to talk about it anymore. It's trash. Move on. Go to the next thing. Just move on. So, my next big thing, though, I am creating a new Force-sensitive thing that is my own, that has nothing to do with Lucas, has nothing to do with Disney. It is totally mine. It is totally mine. And like Big L, April 14th, I sent everything off to the feds to get it copyrighted, to get everything legally done, so I don't have to worry about it anymore. It's under the Oscarith brand. And when I launch it, I'm going to send you guys out your invites. Whether you take up on it or not, it's going to be totally up to you. But it is its own thing. It's got the similarities to some of that stuff, but it's its own thing, its own names, its own copyrights, its own stuff. So we won't have to worry about that. But again, guys, don't forget that, Convivial has been very good to all of us. So, when you get a chance, shout out Convivial and Mysticon. They're they're just now coming back, and I'm pretty sure Mike O'Hare would really appreciate that. Mike. Oh God, he's gonna kill me. Mark, make sure you shout him out. Guy's a great guy. I love his dad joke thing that he was doing at the con. Me and Marky Mark got to hang out with him as we discussed Ice Pirates.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to try to do another one soon. But I want you guys to get your rest. And if anything comes up, give me a holler. If there's anything else anybody wants to say while we're closing, now's the time.
I'll say I will be at RallyCon in North Carolina, GalaxyCon Rally. So if you don't get a chance to make it, I will be broadcasting some of the panels live that I go to, and we will do a few interviews down there as well. So you can check out the Cosmic Portal, the NC chapter, or the 757 Geek Fandom. I'll post all three of those so that everybody can see what's going on at all of the conventions. That'll be the next convention I will be at. Then after that, I will be at THC as well with Calibus, and we will have the booth that we're selling at. So yeah, check us out. If you see me walking around, stop by and say hi. I always like to meet people. And as I said, we do interviews while we're there. So I can interview you to get some information about what you thought about the convention as well. So look me up while we're down there.
Hey, Big L, do you see those plaques above his TVs? I see that Superman sign there that somebody loved.
Yeah. Well, that Superman sign looks nice up there. I still have a Flash one that someone needs to pick up. You know, there's a Flash one that belongs to another individual in here that he needs to get at some point. So we'll see what happens.
What's that, squadron leader? What you got there?
You pulling a Calibus?
Palpatine. Working on the paint for him.
Okay. Taco Cat, you got anything you want to say before we go?
No. Pretty good.
Right.
I got a lot of people joining, and it. Last couple of months to go.
So check out Taco Cat's group. Oh, I'm sorry, Taco Cat.
Yeah. We hit like 2.6 people right now. We'll be like 3.7 the coming week soon.
All right. Congratulations. Congratulations.
Thank
well
you.
deserved. It is a great Star Wars group. He also does a Star Trek group as well. So I'm falling over my words here. But check him out at the Non-Toxic Star Wars Alliance. The other big announcement I can say is that we have a plan for Galaxy's Edge, a big group of us. I can't really get into it any more than that because a lot of the plans are up in the air. We just said, hey, let's do that. And we're like, okay, we'll get together and we'll discuss it. We haven't done it yet, but we will. Guys, I want to thank you for joining me. This has been great to see all your faces once again together under one big roof, and I like that. Marky Mark is the linchpin to all of this because he hits all three of our groups. Well, 4 or 5 of our groups. And it's just great to have you guys back here again. We're going to try it again next month, around July 11th. Stay tuned for Freedom Code Day, June 19th. Look for the shirts. Marky Mark and I will be sporting them bad boys. It is all part of the Oscarith, the upcoming book, and Cyber Saga. So with that being said, I am Calibus Rand with my main men of fandom, Jedi Joe, Rob Ash, Taco Cat, Big L himself, and my right hand, the general manager of the Cosmic Portal, Marky Mark. Thank you and good night.